Hello gamers, welcome to my review of the HyperX Pulsefire Haste, another lightweight honeycomb shell mouse to add to the growing collection. HyperX are no strangers to high performance gaming accessories, as they have a good range of keyboards and headsets in their catalogue going years back. But is this one going to keep up the glowing reputation of their previous offerings? I'll go through what I loved, hated, well actually I hated none of it, so I guess what I loved and I loved a bit less. First of all, if you wish to buy this mouse, there will be links in the description below, and like and subscribe. So this mouse is 124.2mm long, 66.8mm wide and 38.2mm tall, and it weighs a light 59 grams without the cable. With this mouse you get a set of spare mouse feet and some grip tape, which I put on straight away, so my review will mainly include with that in mind. So this mouse has a very neutral symmetrical design. I'd say it's similar to the regular Razer Viper, however there is a slight difference in the front where there is a lot more flaring to the size of the Viper. I find the shape is very comfortable for all grip types, as the hand is just somewhat resting on the top, and the sides don't really seem to go in too much, so it's not like you're really forced to hold on to it. It's definitely not the most comfortable one, but it's in no way uncomfortable to use either. It's a very no thrills neutral shape that aims to please most. I think that when using this for around 8+ hours of video games in one sitting, I never really found that my hand would get stiff or require any adjustments when playing. And with my old man hands, that's a great thing these days. I would say as well, anybody that uses different grip types will probably have no problems with this mouse as well, as it doesn't really seem to cater into one type anyway. For the coating, well, because I covered most of it in the grip tape, it's not really much to talk about the raw coating, but more of the tape itself. I've seen people use grip tape, and I've always thought it was just some fashionable gimmick that people have been brainwashed into thinking they need by companies so they can sell you stickers that will eventually find itself in the ocean somewhere being eaten by an endangered whale. My opinion now though, it still hasn't changed. Unless you are someone that has such little contact with the mouse against your hands that you could probably hold a bubble, then actually maybe there would be a reason for it. I personally found it a little bit distracting and sometimes a little bit annoying, so I guess it's for people that really have a light touch, as I said. The rest of the coating, or what's actually there, feels fine. I would peel these off, but last time I tried this with a mouse I ended up destroying it completely. It's a very long story, I really can't go into it that much. For the switches on the mouse 1 and 2, we have something new. That's right, no more me saying they're using Omrons or KLGM 8.0s and they feel fine with no complaints and all that rubbish that I always say. Because these ones are using something different, the TTC Golden Micro switches, which are rated for 50 million clicks. These feel fine and I have no complaints at all. Oh, never mind. The side buttons are also pretty great. They're a good size, so they're easy to reach and aren't in the way either, so you won't accidentally trigger them. You also get a small DPI button that sits down from the scroll wheel and it changes the DPIs. For the scroll wheel though, it's also great. It's got a really nice scroll to it, with the notches being very rigid, but it still goes through them very smoothly. The mouse 3 switch is also really good and consistent also, so it most definitely receives my scroll wheel seal of approval. I used the mouse 3 to move my camera around in Dota 2, so believe me when I say it does actually get properly tested, and it also explains why I'm a little bit particular about scroll wheels. For the dirt check, there are areas when it's going to get filthy. I feel that it's going to be mainly around the separated mouse 1 and 2 buttons and the grooves on the sides. However, as you can see, these gaps are a little bit large, so they won't actually be that hard to get anything inside to clean it out, so it's actually not a bad thing. It's not like these gaps are absolutely tiny and it's going to be really hard to sort of get any dirt out of it. Maybe you have to use a toothbrush. I prefer ones that are just easier to clean. With the grips that I have here though, there is naturally going to be a little bit of extra dirt build up around the sides of the grips, but as I did actually put them on, you know, I can't really complain, because in theory I am the cause of the extra dirt. The mouse feet are pretty decent for this one. There's no censoring to it, but the feet here are thick enough for it to not be a problem. I find that this also doesn't affect the lift off distance in any way at all for me. You also get some spares, which I mentioned before, which is very nice of HyperX. Thanks guys. For the cable, it never got in the way, and that was even without it sitting in a bungee. The cable entry point is raised from the base of the mouse, and the housing surrounding it leads a little bit further out, so it stops the mouse cable from any immediate dragging on the mouse pad. Again, this cable is absolutely fine, I hardly noticed it, and it's pretty good. For software, you do get something called Ingenuity, I think it's called that, or something along those lines. It's alright, you can make your standard changes, sync the lights with all the other peripherals and stuff if you want to fill the void of darkness in your life with RGB. It's probably one of the nicest softwares in terms of usability. There's very little clutter or home pages telling you about their top 5 Fortnite night tips or something similar. You can change the DPI values, polling rates and light, so it does the basics. This software is optional as well, so it's not needed at all. To be honest, if I didn't have the keyboard, I wouldn't have installed it. The sensor for this is the 3335, which has been featured in so many of the recent mice I've reviewed, so here's a summary. Good sensor, it isn't the best in terms of performance and numbers, but for most people it would just do the job fine. I haven't had any issues with the sensor in all the mice I've used in it, and that includes this one as well. Using it in game has been great. I have really enjoyed using it as it has actually been quite comfortable at points. I have really enjoyed my time using it, and the lightweight has been absolutely fantastic and has been a good balance for this mouse. I'm not sure if the grips really help overall in my time playing with this, but I don't really find that they helped massively. But I would say as well, maybe it did help with grip, but only really when I was generally browsing. You know, I use a rigid palm grip when I play, so if there was points outside of the games and I sort of, you know, use a bit of a lighter grip, it was good then. So it didn't help my grip in terms of aiming, but it helped my grip in terms of browsing websites. The other thing with this mouse is that it's at a really good price point, sitting at around about $47, £50 or around €60 at the time of this review, which for a high tier lightweight mouse that comes with some extra accessories I think is a really good deal. So it's definitely worth picking up. Pretty much most mice that are at a similar price range as this one seem to be slightly inferior. So overall, I highly recommend this mouse. I think it's excellent for the price mentioned, and it really does seem to impress across the board. I feel that this is probably a must-have for a lot of people that want something cheap or a reliable backup. It's probably one of the best mice at this price point, and I think that even compared some of the other options around, and even some more expensive ones, this one still does really well when put against them. Honestly, I can't really think of a downside, not even if I was being picky. This is really just an excellent and consistent mouse, so I highly recommend it. That's all for this review. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll respond to you when I'm on the toilet.